Hey there, I'm Cheryl. Thank you so much for your interest in the Beach Resin for Beginners course. This is the piece that we're going to be making. A couple of things. Below the video for the supply list, you'll notice a link. If you click on that link and enter your email address, I will email you a downloadable PDF of the supply list, including links on where to get everything. That's just going to make it easier so you're not going to spend a whole lot of time trying to source what I'm using. On that list, you'll notice the resin that I'm using is Moss Epoxy's Art Resin, or Art Pro. And then the white that I'm using is Cast and Craft. When you do the course, if you're using the products I'm using, you can expect similar results. If you choose to use a different type of resin or a different white pigment, your results may be completely different because different products have different compounds and react differently. So you can't use a different resin from what I'm using and expect to have the same results. This is what I found to be the best combination, so that is what I'm using. If you choose to use a resin that's different from what I'm using, you need to look up the safety requirements of that particular product. A lot of them require that you're wearing a mask so that you're not breathing in the fumes, as resin can be toxic when it's in its fluid state. So definitely check out the safety of the resin that you're deciding to use. Another tip, if you are working in a cold area, you'll notice that the resin tends to get a little bit thicker in the containers and doesn't flow quite as well. So tip to counteract that and to get your resin a little bit thinner is to put some warm water in your sink and then put the bottles in there just so that it can heat up and it can get a little bit more of a thin consistency before you're working on it. You'll notice that there are a lot of videos listed below, and that's because everything is separated into separate videos. That's going to make it much easier for you to go over a particular video if you need to remind yourself of the information that is being taught in that one. As well, when you're working with resin, you can't do it all at one point, especially if you're doing these beach pours with different waves. They need to be done at least, I would say, about 12 hours apart, each layer. So by having separate videos, that's just going to make it easier for you to go to the video that you need. The other thing I would recommend is watching the video first before you start working. That way you know exactly what the process is and you're familiar with where we're going to go with it. With all of that being said, I hope you enjoy the course. Please message me if there is anything that you are still wondering that I didn't cover. I'd be happy to answer your questions.